Hello everyone, my name is Scott Falstrom and I am the treasurer of Faculty Assembly, and I'm going to kind of walk through a few of the basics for getting to your pay stub and making sure you can see everything that you need to and understand the basics. So I'm referring back to an email from Sherry Wright, and she was talking about notice about January paychecks. In that email was the address that got you to the new pay stub. It's a totally different site, so if you try to use the old one, you'll realize it doesn't work. Now, when you open this website and click on it, it gives you this window. Now, most of you are probably going to try to log in with your maybe your Surf ID or your payroll ID, all of which are different. And the user ID here is kind of specific if it's your first time. So I want to go back to Sherry's email because in it there are a few attachments, and the attachments are really important. So if you notice, it does say enter your user ID and use a temporary password. If you open up the files that were attached, it gives you once again the address. And if you scroll down a little bit, it actually says your user ID is your employee ID without a hyphen. This is incorrect. It is your pay ID without a hyphen. Your employee ID is a different number. So some people were having questions about, I put in my employee ID. Well, it's not the employee ID, payroll ID. Down here, your temporary password. See, on top it says your PeopleSoft password, but if it's your first time, you have to use your temporary. The last name is the key piece here. It's the first four of your last name in caps, and then the last four of your social security number. That's what you'll be entering in here in order to sign in. Once you sign in, that's where you can actually change your password to something better. All right. From this, you can also click on Historical Paycheck website. The Historical Paycheck website is the one that many of you are used to. This is where you'll find everything from prior to January 2017. Anything from 2017 January and beyond would be in the new system. Fun fact, once you log in, you will be unable to access the historical. You'll have to log out to get back to the link for the historical. So I'm going to enter mine. And just show you what it looks like when you do log in. Here's what it looks like. You can view your paychecks. You can view your W-2. And if you click on View Paycheck, it just comes down with all of your paychecks to this point in time. All right. So there you go. That's the first little bit of how to access your paycheck. Now, once you click on one of these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to I created a sample, and here is Samantha Pull, Sam Pull. And this is what your pay sheet will now look like. It's very different than in the past. Now in Sherry's email, she also provided a how to read your PeopleSoft paycheck, but I found that sometimes people are unsure what all of those different pieces mean. It's a 3-page document. You're welcome to look it up. I'm going to walk through it. All right. The top pieces are basically not really that important to most faculty. There's really nothing there that tells you much other than when you're getting paid, which you probably already knew. The name and address should be correct. Make sure that's correct. Your department is on here. It says employee ID. Again, that's your payroll ID. And to the right-hand side, we have your status. It's possible to have a different number of allowances at federal and California, but for this example, I just put the same. For your January pay, you do not get paid any of your overload. So if you're teaching overload, or if you have overload hours with counseling and so forth, for the most part, anything that's based on LHE will not be coming in to the January paycheck. Those will be coming into subsequent months. So this one will just have your regular pay, which is your base rate. I chose someone who is Class 3, Step 13 as an example. So you'll get your earnings, and that'll be your total. On the right-hand side are the taxes, and as full-time faculty, we pay federal, California, and then we pay Medicare. Down below, you'll see a few boxes. These are your before-tax deductions. All of us will have a STRS deduction. Some of you may have, for instance, a 403B, a 457, and this is also where you would have any additional money that goes into your flex account for healthcare. So if you put extra money in, it's going to come out here. After-tax deductions are all listed here. Again, if you pay for the legal plan, that is after tax. If you contribute to faculty assembly, that is after tax. If you give money to the foundation for scholarships, after tax. And if you check your January, depending on how you set up your voluntary benefits, you may have an additional charge that is incorrect. Notice this bottom one, voluntary AD&D, employer only. That should not be here. It's employer, so it's supposed to be over here. If you check your January, you were charged incorrectly, and I believe they have that now fixed as of March. On the right-hand side, this is something we never saw before. We've never seen what the employer pays. So here's the medical, dental, everything that MiraCosta pays on your behalf is now listed here. And I've had comments from some people, the bottom line that says right now for me actually has something in it. Once the AD&D transfers over, there will be more information than this tiny little box can hold. And instead of listing it elsewhere, it is all combined into one additional line called Other. And so if you have an Other line, it means you have so many employer paid benefits that they won't fit in the box, and the box is not adjustable in size. Yay! If you want to know what the Other is for you, please contact payroll. They will know exactly what those are. Down at the bottom, you get your total gross, your taxable gross. Remember, any of your pre-tax deductions are subtracted beforehand. I did get a couple people asking, well, wait a minute, that doesn't match. If I take my total gross and I subtract my before tax, it doesn't match. How come? Well, that's because you are actually getting taxed on part of your life insurance. This bottom number that has the asterisk for this person is $5. The cost is actually based on your age. So if you're older, you may be paying more than $5. Well, really, MiraCosta is paying that. However, when you signed up at MiraCosta, you had to sign a form that says, I understand that the first $50,000 is not taxable and anything beyond that is taxable. So this $5 is added into your taxable gross. So if you want to see that, here's how it would look. Take your $12,110.30, which is my total amount of pay, and subtract the $2141.31, which is the before tax deductions. You'll end up with this number. Add the $5 on, and you will have the amount that's the taxable gross. Now here's the strange part. This is actually how it should have been done previously. In the old system, you never had this discrepancy, and that doesn't mean you weren't taxed on it. It means you were taxed on it, but they didn't withhold any tax for it. So some of you might have had a higher tax bill because of that extra cost. Now they're taking out tax for it, which I think is a better system, and they're telling you right up front that you are taxed on it. Your total taxes are listed, your total deductions. This is kind of a strange one because it includes both your pre-tax and post-tax deductions all in one, and then your net pay. If you have anything, some of you have like sending part of your check to a savings account and part of it to a checking account, two different accounts. They'll both be listed here in the bottom, but the total will give you your net pay. And last piece, in the basics, you will see your sick leave balance. For most everybody, those are incorrect. And payroll knows about it, and they are working on it, but it is not fixed as of yet. Stay tuned to FA, and we will be able to get you more information. My next little video will probably go more in depth as to how the taxes are calculated so that you can kind of make decisions on how you want to change or adjust your allowances. Some people need to withhold more money, and I'm going to show you how that all works. Thanks for paying attention, and hopefully this helps. If you have questions, contact Faculty Assembly. I'm Scott Falstrom, the Treasurer of Faculty Assembly. Have a great day.